Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. In this week's episode, we decided to return to the Tokyo neighborhood we've spent the most time in over the years. Because there was so much we wanted to share with you, we decided to make this episode 2 parts. In part 1, we start the day at the old Tsukiji Market about a year after its main market has closed to see what has changed. If you enjoy the video, please give it a like, it really helps the channel grow. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and the little notification bell so you don't miss any future episodes. Let's go. On my first day of vacation here, we've decided to come back to sort of our old stomping grounds. We came to Tsukiji Market, which is the old fish market that has since closed down, but their outer market is still functioning today.
I think it's thriving more than ever before.
Yeah, it is crazy busy here. But this is sort of one of the spots we would always come on our previous trips because we would stay sort of in an area that was very easy to come here. So we'd always make a pilgrimage to this market. So we're doing that today, and then we're gonna head back towards where we used to stay. So we're gonna go in here, explore, find some food to try, and take you along with us. Our first bit of food for this adventure is lunch. We're decided to do a proper lunch, like sit down, get something good in our bellies that's gonna fuel our exploration around this old market and find some other goodies to try later. Nicole has been hankering, dying, craving eel ever since we got here and has checked out every single eel location she has seen, and for some reason it just hasn't worked out, but we found an eel place here in the market and it drew us in. How's your eel?
My eel is everything that I've been dreaming of. Everything that I've been hankering has led up to this eel spectacular lunch. It is really quite generous. When we looked at the menu, they had a special and they said they only had 20 per day because it was such a good deal. And one of the workers saw me hoeing and humming and he's like, "Come in, we will give it to you." And I was like, okay. And my goodness, the eel is really plump. It's seasoned really well, and he cooked it in front of us on top of his little charcoal thing, and I think that's what makes it like that spectacularness, the freshness.
It gives it that grill flavor.
Yeah, and the eel is it's a good thickness. There's no bones in it, and sometimes you get a skimpy eel and you're just chewing skin and that gelatinous layer, and there might be bones, but no, this is a fat eel, so there's lots of good tender meat on it.
Yeah, you got some big pieces in there. I do. Yeah. So you're happy you finally got your fix and it's hitting the spot?
I am happy.
I'm not usually an eel fan. I mean, I like eel, but I don't crave it like Nicole craves it. But this is actually quite surprising. I'm gonna switch hands here. I opted for something which was a little bit smaller of a portion than Nicole because I have many things out there that I want to try. So I want to stay as hungry as possible after this, but just want to take the edge off. So I just got a flat piece of eel, and it is a little bit thinner than Nicole's, but the fluffiness of the meat was really surprising to me. That's the thing that kind of hit me first. I poured some of their sauce over it, which gives it a nice sweetness and kind of moistens it a bit more. I like the skin too. The skin gives it that kind of like fishiness.
It's a good skin. It's a nice thin skin. Sometimes you get a tough, thick skin, and that's no good.
Yeah.
And usually when we go out to, if we've been to, let's say, not super stellar sushi restaurants, and you get eel on sushi, I usually put a lot of sauce on it to give it that extra bump. But this time I put no sauce on my eel because it didn't need it.
Yeah. And the more that I eat it, like the aftertaste has a real earthiness to it, the eel.
I love eel.
It's really good. So let's finish up our eel here, and then let's head back out there and get some more snacks to try. I knew exactly what I wanted when we were deciding to come to this area. It's a place that I researched 2 years ago for a previous trip, and we just never had a chance to make it out here. And that is egg. I love Tamago. And this place only does egg. This is what they specialize in. And if you come early enough, you can actually do egg making classes here. They'll show you how to do this. But they are masters at this, so I would definitely suggest just trying it. They serve them on a stick like this, so it makes it really easy to walk and eat. This one, you can see all the layers in the egg, which is the signature of good Japanese omelet. The second signature for me anyways, it's a sweetness to the egg. And this definitely has that. This is really, really good. This is totally living up to expectations and hype. If you're an egg fan like I am, I would definitely recommend coming and checking out this shop. The link will be down below in the details. This is just their normal plain egg, but they have lots of different varieties with different things that they've added to the egg mixture before they cooked it. But I just love the simple basic one. How's the squid?
Dried squid is one of my favorite snacks. It's kind of like the Asian equivalent of popcorn. When you're watching movies, sitting in the theater, this is what you want. And this is a perfectly good example of what a good squid is. It's super smelly, fragrant, and it has a really good chew to it. It's not dry, so you don't want a dried, hard piece of squid. You want something that's like elasticy. That's it. It's elasticy and super flavorful.
My egg is kind of like dessert. It's got that sweetness to it, but that didn't stop me from wanting dessert to my dessert. So Nicole loves
Black sesame. It's my weakness. No trip to the food stall is complete without black sesame ice cream.
And I went with a flavor I've never tried before, which is a kind of Japanese orange, I believe.
Oh my god, the sesame is strong in this one.
This one reminds me of almost like a creamsicle. The first bite has got like a creamy orangey flavor, which kind of dissipates as it melts. How's yours in terms of consistency?
It's creamy.
Really?
It doesn't look creamy because it looks like it's, when you look at this ice cream, it looks like it's made out of more ice. But
mine's a little bit icier than yours probably.
mine's super creamy and mine's super packed with sesame. And that's important because you don't want to have weak sesame ice cream.
No. So we're gonna enjoy our ice creams here. We got here a little bit late, it seems, in the day. A lot of the places are closing at 3 p.m. today, which is in about 15 minutes. So I'm not sure what other goodies we're gonna be able to get today, but we're gonna continue to walk around, and there's one other spot here that we wanna check out, which isn't food related. In the middle of all this madness of the market here is this cute little shrine, kind of just tucked off on one of the side streets. And it's not that little actually, it's quite a big building, but you can't really notice it super well from the street.
I like that there's a gate and you can come in and just take a breath of like quiet air because it is crazy busy outside.
Yeah, the market is insane. And I love the doors of this one. They're wide open, but they have really nice carvings on them. And the shrine is closed right now. Like the building itself is closed, but it has the like typical roof line that I love. And yeah, it's just there's not much of a courtyard in here, but somehow you feel sort of pulled out, pulled out of the madness. So keep your eyes out for this shrine if you're walking around the market. After recharging at the shrine for a little bit, we wandered back out into the market and decided to get 2 more food items before we leave the market for the day. You picked chestnuts. Let's flash back to where you got them.
I found a man. He was roasting fresh chestnuts. He gave me a sample. And then I ended up with the whole bag because I couldn't say no. I love my chestnuts. His chestnuts are so hot and freshly roasted and so plump. And I love Japanese chestnuts in particular because the skin comes off around the nut really easily. Sometimes you get ones that have like the skin that's like attached onto the meat, and that's no good. But not Japanese ones.
So yeah, that guy was really cute.
He was so cute. He didn't have any teeth though, so what do chestnuts do to your dental work?
Oh yeah, but he had a nice hat.
Yes, he did. He was such a sweet little man.
Yeah, he gave you a few extra.
He did.
So how do these nuts look?
This is the pre-peeled version.
Yeah.
And this is my peeled version. See how there's no fuzzy white skin attached to it? It's just all meat, clean meat.
I feel like it's rare that you get the whole chestnut out without it breaking apart.
Yes.
Like at home when we're trying to peel them, they just start to fall apart because they're all so stuck to the shell.
I love freshly roasted chestnuts. There's just something about it. Like if you bake it or you boil it, it just doesn't taste the same as when they do it over
I could
the flame.
I could sense the roastedness of your chestnut before you even put it in my mouth. Like the smell hit me as you were putting it towards me. And then when you put it in, it's still slightly warm, and it has that kind of almost smoky kind of flavor because of the kind of roasters that they tend to use.
It reminds me of Christmas or Thanksgiving somehow for some reason.
Well, because freshly roasted chestnuts over an open fire is all the rage at Christmas. And my item I chose is a daifuku. So this is a mochi, a pounded rice cake that's been filled with some kind of filling. And this stand had all kinds of different varieties, but I chose one that had two things in it that I love. Sweet potato with roasted chestnut. Hey, a theme. That was not intended. Okay,
I thought I was the big chestnut lover here.
I love chestnut in like baked goods and chocolates and stuff like that. That is interesting because I don't usually go just for the nut.
Yeah.
I like it in something.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give you the camera to hold for me so I can open up this daifuku. Here's my daifuku. You can see it's got this white powdery stuff. Maybe let me get it out of the packaging first. There you go. So you can see the white powdery stuff on top here. That is just usually like some kind of starch, like a potato starch, just to keep it a little bit easier to handle. Otherwise this would be super sticky and get stuck to the wrapper, and the person making it would have no luck. It feels like it's chunky. Like you can see some chunks coming out of the side here. I wonder if that just maybe it's chunks of chestnut. Well, let's find out.
It's chewy, I can see.
It's very chewy. The filling is sweet potato, and it's very unique. It's not screaming sweet potato. It's almost screaming like it's been mixed in a way with, has like a custardy like feel in the mouth, and a kind of a vanilla flavor. So I don't know if they've mixed the sweet potato with something to do that, but the chunks I do think are little pieces of chestnut.
Let's see the inside.
That is really good.
Not better than plain straight up chestnut, I bet.
Not better, way better.
Hey!
The area has really changed, eh?
It's completely unrecognizable. And not just because they tore down the fish market, just because all the businesses around it have reinvented themselves.
I was very shocked to see from the bridge that we came across from the subway station that all of the old market is completely gone. It's all a pile of rubble, and they've been paving over it. That was slightly sad and unfortunate, and I'm wondering what they're gonna do with that land. I'll have to look it up and see if I can figure that out. Because yeah, that's completely gone. And I was kind of expecting the outer market where we've been walking around, which is where all the shops and restaurants traditionally have been. I kind of thought it was gonna start going downhill without the market to draw all the tourists in, and that was kind of the fear of the area because they've been planning to close this down for many years. And on our last trip we actually went to the new market, but they basically moved it to another area, but all these shops just got left here. But after today, I'd say they're not hurting.
No, I think if anything they're thriving. I think back in the day a lot of the restaurants, they catered to the fishermen here. Now they can cater to the tourists, and the prices have really skyrocketed huge. The stalls are also catered to tourists too, because now they have like little booths at the front and you buy items piecemeal. Like a little taste of an oyster will cost you $10. A
Yeah.
little taste of a beef will cost you $40. So
That's true.
back then when they used to serve full-on meals to fishermen, now they just serve like a little piece of something on a stick.
Yeah.
$20, please.
Yeah. They're just trying to capitalize on all the people walking around. Because that's right. That's a big difference from the olden days here. They never did that before. You wouldn't see one-off items being sold like that, so you could just grab it and eat it on the go. It was always much more catered
Modest.
to, yeah, modest, but also much more catered to the people working in the fish market itself. It was just a side effect that there were tourists walking around. We also noticed in our previous trip here, when the market was still operating and we came to walk around, we were commenting on how it felt so different than the very first time we'd been in 2007. Back in 2007, tourism in the fish market wasn't that big a deal, wasn't that big a thing. So all the vendors were still very friendly and open, and I can remember one of them letting me hold his huge knives.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And then fast forward to 2016 when we were last there, they had completely changed their demeanor. There was no there's like no photo signs everywhere. They weren't as smiley. They really didn't want to interact with you, and the tourism, you could tell, was just getting in their way. And that was part of the reason why they moved to a new location. And it's been built to cater to tourism and to the market itself. And by doing what they've done is basically segregated everybody.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's has a totally different feel here. This now feels much more just about tourism. Like you said, they had to reinvent themselves after all those workers left, and what was left with all the tourists coming here and exploring.
Good for them for adopting.
Yeah.
But I do miss the days when it wasn't so hustly.
Yeah.
People are hustling you to go in. People are hustling you to spend your money there. Back then, it was definitely a different vibe.
It was different vibe, but not only that, just the number of people.
Yeah.
Like trying to walk around the little streets, it's nuts.
Yeah.
It's crazy now. Back then, there'd be people, but you wouldn't be, like, you just walk freely.
Yeah.
So it's a good visit.
Yeah.
Got some good food.
Yeah.
I'm glad we came and revisited it and saw that new that shrine. Not new shrine, well, new to us. So let's move on to our next spot. We have quite a few spots to hit up for the rest of the day. The theme of finding things on this trip that we have never seen or heard of before continues today. As we were leaving the market, we saw the roofline of this amazing building behind us, and we had no idea what that was. I looked it up on Google to see what this is, and this is actually a Buddhist temple. So we had to come over and check it out.
I'm blown away that this isn't a major attraction in Tokyo because there's nothing like it here.
Yeah, I mean, this is like nothing I've ever seen in terms of a Buddhist temple. It's so modern looking.
I guess it's also nothing we've ever seen before because the facade is a complete Indian inspired architecture motif.
Yeah, so this temple, which is Tsukiji Hongwan-ji, has a very long history dating back to the early Edo period. It was actually destroyed twice. The first time was in the 1600s when Edo had a huge fire that just destroyed all the wooden structures that they had. And in that reconstruction, it got relocated here.
Because permission to rebuild was denied, right?
Yeah, by the feudal government because of the plannings that they had put in place for the new Edo. It just didn't work out. So they gave them this land, which was actually reclaimed land, which blows my mind that they were reclaiming land.
Back in the day.
Yeah, like without the kind of technology we have today, like bulldozers to move a lot of earth. So that's pretty amazing. And then here, unfortunately, that rebuilt temple also was destroyed.
Earthquake.
Yeah, the Kanto earthquake in the early 1900s. And then what we're seeing today was built in the 30s. So relatively new.
Yeah.
And it looks that way, very modern looking for a temple.
The architect is actually a Japanese man.
Yeah, from the university?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty amazing. So let's go in and take a look at what the inside of this modern temple looks like. Thanks so much for watching this week's episode. We hope you enjoyed coming along with us to explore our old stomping grounds. If you did, please don't forget to like the video. It really helps the channel grow. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the little notification bell so you don't miss any future episodes. We'll see you next week.